Hello and welcome to Science, Technology, and Society. I'm Sir Kenneth Porio and welcome to this asynchronous session. Okay, so I hope you're doing well. Again, don't forget if you're watching us live, please do not forget to sign in your name in the chat box or in the description below if you're not watching us live. No, so thank you so much everyone for watching this asynchronous video of Science, Technology, and Society. For this time, we'll just run through what we have discussed in the previous meeting, asynchronous meeting to be exact. So we'll be discussing the scientific method and the validity of science. We have mentioned some terms, and later I'll be leaving you with our activity for this week. Okay, so let's start. So this week we are in our discussion on the science, technology, and society and the human condition. And we are will be running through what we have discussed about the scientific method, and then we'll be tackling more of what we need to do, what we need to discuss about science, technology, and society. Okay, and our condition as humans, no, because once we have discussed the scientific method and know the importance of the scientific method, we now understand how we live our lives, analyze things, question things. No, so let's dive in into our uh, discussion on the scientific method. Again, just to run through everything, no, we have discussed the 6 steps of the scientific method: identify the problem, gather the information, formulate or make your hypothesis, test the hypothesis, then make a conclusion, then verify, or share the information that you have. No, so again, the steps may vary. No, as I mentioned earlier, then again, it's all about thinking like a scientist to think logically and how you investigate a problem. No, how to investigate a problem or a question about a natural phenomenon or a natural occurrence. No, so these things break down into many steps that make sense. No, okay, so what are those steps? The observations, again, based on your senses or based on your questioning of a certain event. Then formulating the hypothesis is all about predicting the outcome of the experiment, what needs to be done, you know, how to say that it is, how to say that you have a hypothesis that is valid. It must be testable. You can test. You should be able to test that hypothesis. Also, uh, during the testing of your hypothesis, you need to have, especially if it is an experimental form of research, it's all about a controlled experiment. No, so you have to make sure the variables of your experiment can be changed in the day controlled environment, and they serve as the factor being tested for your testing of the hypothesis. Okay, just to run through, no, you have to clearly design an experiment that shows the particular cause of the certain outcome. So if it cannot be observed, it cannot be tested. Okay, so sometimes if there are no real world objects that you can test on, you can use models to represent a real object. Okay, variables, again, there are two types of variables: independent and dependent variable. Independent is the variable being changed during the experiment, and the dependent variable that responds to the change of the variable, which is the independent variable. Okay, so when you collect and analyze data, again, you gather the data collected from your experiments. Again, if it is qualitative, you need a description of the phenomenon or lahat ng nagather mong data. It's a descriptive form of data. When it is a qualitative data, it's numerical. You know, it's measurable. You know? So all data is based on observations. You know, utilize tools to gather your data. So you can organize your data in charts. That's part of your how you display your data. So it can more easily analyzed. Then draw your conclusions. Again, when you draw a conclusion, it's must be logically sound. No, it's not. If it's not supported by the test, the scientist might find another explanation. No, remember, no experiment is a failure. No, whatever happens to what you have been doing, if you're doing the right thing, and it sometimes might you might perceive it as a failure. It's not a failure. It's just an observation. It's an observation that you can take note. Okay, draw conclusions from that. Okay, so communicating the results, again, it must be communicated in the form of written paper or presentation. No, it helps people that your observations are repeatable. The experiment you do is repeatable. So we have theories again in the terms of science. As we go through the scientific method, we have this in our in our definitions. Theories are explanations of certain phenomenon based on many experiments. No, um, when you say theory, it will be valid until someone will negate that, or someone will, what you call that, debate that theory, and it is already untrue. No, so but when you say law, no, as if you apply the right thing, no, when the laws tell you what it happens, no, the law is a law because once you break the conventions of the law, it's no longer true. The law is no longer valid. No, that what you think is no longer valid. So it's a summary of all the experimental results. And it's a definite like outcome. It has a definite outcome. Laws have a definite outcome. Meanwhile, theories, the outcomes of theories will vary depending on the conditions. So in laws, no matter what the condition is, uh, pareha at pareho talaga yung outcome niyan, no? Yung pag sinasabi mong laws, no? Like the Newton's law of motion, no? And for kaya law siya kasi hindi mo na kahit anong balik-baliktarin mo, parehas pa rin ang outcome. There is gravity. Yan, merong gravity to. There is a constant force of gravity, no? And pag theory, madidisprove yan. Pwede yan siya madidisprove, like the theory of relativity of Albert Einstein. Later on, baka may mag-disprove niyan later on kung ma-prove na siya na hindi siya totoo. Parang ganon. Alright? So, next, there's also the discussion of pure science versus technology. Pure science is attempt to learn about the world. No, it's done by scientists, or if you have an inquisitive mind, you can practice pure science based on experimentation. You involve in observation, questioning, research. That's pure science. And meanwhile, when we say technology, you apply the science. No, kaya yan, engineer, inventors, lahat ng yan, nagbabase lang sila sa mga previous na works, no? Previous na scientific explanations. Yan, technology. Kaya siguro if I relate this to myself as a computer science graduate, I graduated from computer science. When I say science, kaya may maraming nalilito kung, for example, in our domain as IT na IT domain. Ano ba ang dapat piliin ko? Computer science ba or information technology? Oh, ayun. Computer science, it's part of pure science. We are doing experimentation. Experiment kami ng code. Nag-observe kami ng behavior ng code or mga performances ng ganitong mga software or ganitong mga particular algorithms. Puro sa mga magka-question kami sa sa mga codes, kung tama ba itong ginawang algorithm or efficient ba siya, mga ganong bagay. That's pure science, computer science. Hi mga comsci teachers dyan, hello guys, kung nanonood kayo dito. So, that's pure science. Pag technology naman, so mga IT, hello guys, hello din mga IT major, Sila yung gumagawa ng mga bagong bagay, new things, mga inventors, creative. Sila yung nabibuild ng mga, I don't know, programs or applications or maybe a new algorithm. It's technology. That's an application of the science behind what the code or mga ganon. So sa IT yan. So I'm explaining this in the sense of IT. So I don't know with you mga hospitality and tourism students dito who are watching. If you are to compare like the pure science of maybe tourism and hospitality, if you want to be inquisitive and do your questioning and research, ano kaya ang magiging uh, application or parang uh, ano kaya yung pasok nito? Ano yung saan papasok si tourism and hospitality sa pure science? If you want some opinions, comment below or use the chat box. Baka may ano tayo, no? Pag technology naman, ito yung mga you are innovating in terms of like um, new practices in culinary or new practices in hospitality. I don't know. If you are something like an inventor or something or engineer, why not if you have a mind of an engineer, um, why not tell us how to formulate like the most efficient way to say mm, to welcome a guest in the front office. Parang ganun ba? That's technology. I don't know with you. Maybe we could we could argue this all day pero in the limits of this video, yan lang yung ating hanggang doon lang tayo muna. No? Anyway, that's good. That's a very good thing. No, again, how does science lead to new technology? No, it's always about it's always about um, it's all about using science and technology, no, to understand through the observations to your inquisitive mind or your creative minds, all blends together, no. No, technology really adds to the the study of science, no. It's a great thing that we have learned this, no. Okay, discussion time. If you want to comment on the chat box. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. All right, so this time we are doing a video viewing. Let's watch a documentary. So our documentary is all about the magician's twin, C.S. Lewis, and the case against scientism. And then after you watch this video, you are to do a reaction paper, right? So, but before that, before I will give you the instructions on how to do this, no. So let me introduce to you the man being discussed in this documentary series. So this is C.S. Lewis. He is a British writer, an author, and a lay minister. No, so C.S. Lewis is one of like the intellectual giants, the one of the intellectual giants of the 20th century, uh, particularly in England. No, so he was a fellow and tutor of the English literature at the Oxford University until 1954, wherein he was assigned to be a chair of the medieval and Renaissance literature at Cambridge University. No, so he held this position until he retired. So, what are the works of C.S. Lewis? No, ang dami niyang mga uh, secular and non-secular literature na kanyang na-produce during his lifetime. So, the most distinguished, no, among these 30 books that have reached a vast audience and continues to attract readers today, like Mere Christianity, Out of the Silent Planet, The Great Divorce, The Screw Tape Letters, uh, one of the very controversial books on uh, Christian beliefs. That's the Screw Tape Letters. And the most famous of all na naging mga pelikula, which are which are the books under the series The Chronicles of Narnia. Now, to date, the Narnia books sold over 100 million copies and has been transformed into three major motion pictures, namely, alam niyo yan. So, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The second one was Prince Caspian. And the third one is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And one of which, yung susunod sana na The Silver Chair, hindi natuloy. Hopefully, gagawin daw yan ng Netflix series. So, ganon. So, that's C.S. Lewis. And in this documentary video that you'll be watching, which there's the link in the description below. You'll be watching that. No, so you'll be watching this documentary about the magician's twin. No, this is a documentary that takes the criticism of C.S. Lewis and his views against, or maybe against or for science. No, you'll watch this documentary. This is around 30 minutes, no, and you'll be watching this for quite some time. Please watch the entire video, and you'll be understanding why a lot of people have been influenced by the beliefs of C.S. Lewis, no, on science. No. So after watching this video, no, you'll be doing a reaction paper. So after you watch the video in the description below, you write in the Microsoft Word file and write your opinions relating the discussions in the documentary video. Okay, and what are these? No, guide questions. Number one, what is scientism? You need to define, based on the video, what is scientism? No, and by extension, how is scientism related to technocracy? That particular term. And in that question number one, you would say you would agree or disagree if C.S. Lewis was against science. No, that's in question number one. Question number two, the video contends that science and technology may be gaining increasing control over our lives, potentially to the detriment of society. Do you agree? Does this match your own observations and experiences? Okay, so once you view some of those parts of the video explaining that science and technology can control our lives later on, do you agree on that? So that's question number two. That's your answer in question number two. And guide question number three. According to the documentary film, how is science being likened to a religion? What were the examples of the movements in history that became cause for concern that the scientific method was being applied beyond its boundaries? Remember, a lot of people have been, especially those who do not believe in a religion, no, they use a scientific method beyond its supposed boundaries outside of the domain of science. Okay, so that will be your guide questions for your reaction paper. Anyway, your task is being posted on Microsoft Teams, and please check on that. Okay, so the deadline is next week, next synchronous week. No, please observe the deadlines on our reaction paper. Okay, so the rubrics of this reaction paper is 20 points. So content is 10 points, organization of thought is 5 points, clarity of words 3 points, and grammar composition 2 points. Total of 20 points. So hope you watch the video now. So don't hesitate, click the video on the description below, please, and you'll watch the video. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, and hope to see you in our synchronous week, asynchronous week, I don't know, anytime. See you soon, and stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.